We're at the beginning of season 4. Tell me where Brandon's head is.
Just one minute, there you go.
Brandon's head, at this stage, at the beginning of season 4, he's certainly not in a good way, because naturally last year he killed thousands of innocents, and that weighed in his shoulders a little bit. And then he went down a path which was completely contrary to who he is, i.e. the pursuit the dogged pursuit of Cromwell and his death. And then his wife left him, decided that she loved him no longer. And of course these things would leave any man in a bad place and a dark place. And so at the beginning I think he realizes his life, or believes his life, is winding down to an end, and this is how it's supposed to be, a cold and lonely end.
Oh, how sad. So he seems haunted by all these people he's killed, especially Robert Ask. Tell me about these apparitions he's seeing and this haunting, basically.
The haunting, it's more of an internal thing rather than the physical manifestation of people past, if you will. It's his guilt playing upon him, and he hasn't dealt with it. And so, as the story goes on, it's this acceleration towards him trying to deal with the things that he's done, which have been so counter to his moral code. But at the same time, he was forced to do, as we all know, because of his sense of duty.
And does he still respect the king in the same way?
Not as much. He respects the king, and he has to. That's his job as a loyal subject, is to respect the king. But that line, which used to be friendship and duty, the king being his friend and also his king, has now slipped into more so being the king and less so being the friend, because the king knew that it was something which was contrary to Charles's character.
And he still made him do it?
Yeah.
Because that's his...
That's what he does.
Right. So you have a pretty intimate moment with Surrey, the Earl of Surrey, when you were sort of in the castle and he's writing a poem and you ask him what he's writing. Talk about that scene.
Oh, goodness. That was a while ago now, so I can't really give you any sort of in-depth, emotional, metaphorical sort of insight to the scene. I do remember it being shot very quickly because we were running out of time at the end of the day. It was one setup with 2 different lenses, and so it was done very quickly. But working with David is fantastic. He's a really good actor. He's really good, and it was easy to do. It was wonderful in the way how quiet and emotional the scene was, without it being anything huge and dramatic. It was just gentle and true.
Right, it seemed to strike home because of the one line in the poem.
Yeah.
So actually, this is a repeat question, but, well, it's sort of. So, you do still love the king. Do you fear him at this point? Do you feel that his insanity has gotten a little bit more out of control? And
that's a difficult question to answer, because Brandon, he's not happy in life at this stage. So whether he fears death, I do not know. I think whether he fears more for England and its state than anything else. Certainly any man would fear death, but not to the point that we've seen and witnessed in others. Because he does believe his life is winding down and it's at an end. So I look like a priest. One would expect.
Right, of course. So, when Catherine is found to be adulterous, how does Brandon take this? Because he's really the one...
Yeah, he certainly put Catherine in front of the king. I think he's saddened by the whole affair, because she was a fool, genuinely a fool to have done such a thing, certainly the way it's played out the Tudors. But she was also a young girl, and I think brutalized by the animal that the English court has become. And so that there's a pity there, but also a sense of it's a hard world, and you really did the wrong thing. So there's mixed feelings. But of course she's a young girl, and I think that saddens him that this is the state that England's in.
And did he expect it at all? Or he wouldn't have?
Ooh, did he expect it at all? I think he didn't expect the king to marry her in the first place. It was a distraction initially, from the death of Jane. And so when he did marry her, it was a surprise, but he never thought that far ahead, because he was obviously distracted at the time by the likes of Cromwell and the death of the change in his life. So yeah, he was distracted. He wasn't expecting such a thing to happen, and for it to go as far.
And now let's talk about his marriage, which started off so well, and his wife.
Don't they all?
And where are they now? I mean, she just has lost respect for him, and he understands that. And
yes, I understands. I think is a strong word, because I don't think he understands why she doesn't understand the concept of duty to the king. That's one of his strongest points in his character, is duty and honour. And the fact that she's treated him so harshly, when I think if he was in his weak moments when he's being defensive, he would say, "How dare you treat me like that? You're the one who's supposed to be there to take care of me when I have to do these things." But at the same time, it is so contrary to his moral code to have done such a thing. There is an understanding of her feelings about it, but he has the same feelings. But I think he's not happy with the fact that she has cast him aside when she could have been supportive and aware that the situation is ugly, but try and make best of it.
And he didn't really have a choice.
Well, of course he had a choice. I mean, everyone has a choice, but he chose duty.
Over death, he would have been.
Possibly. Yeah.
So Brandon seems to finally come alive when they do the siege on Bologna.
Bologna.
Tell me why that is.
He has found a reason to live again. He's back doing one of the things he's good at, leading men, fighting. It's a distraction from it's life. He's living, breathing, fearing death again, fearing failure, and it's what he thrives upon. It makes him feel young again. He's chasing his youth, and he finds it in Bologna, and also in, I don't know how much I can say. Everything. Okay. And in his Brigitte, his mistress. His heart opens again, and life, the colour comes back into life. As suppose it being a grayscale before, it is now sort of that there is love, there is life, there is death, there is concern and caring for things beyond, for himself. I was going to say things beyond the throne and the kingdom, but finally for himself again. And he's allowed himself to be a bit selfish and go, you know what, I will take a mistress. I'm going to do this. I don't need to sort of allow myself to be miserable because my wife won't see me anymore or sleep with me. I can be happy. I can do the things I want to do. And why not?
And why not, right?
Yeah.
And what is it about Brigitte that gets his attention? Because
I think that's a tough question. I mean, I haven't worked with Selma that much, the actress who plays Brigitte, only very briefly with the actual scene where I first see her. I think it's just a combination of everything that's going on. It's war, life, death. She's there. She understands. There's a connection, that inexplicable connection between people where you go, I really, really want to be around this person. And whether it goes deeper than that, whether it's just a person for Brandon or whether it's the individual, who knows? I certainly don't. Not at this stage. I can tell you afterwards, after I've done the scenes.
Okay, great. So tell me about the actual war scenes or the actual fighting scenes, and about learning.
About learning how to sword fight. I'd done a bit of sword fighting in previous jobs with actually some of the stunt guys who were working on this and the sword masters. It was a while ago, mind, so I was a bit rusty, but the guys were exceptional and they got me back up to speed. And they are some of the best I could ever imagine working with. Even when I mess up, they still somehow make me look incredible. They do a fantastic job. I don't think anyone realizes the job that stuntmen and swordmen do. There's a lot of danger to them having actors throwing swords around, and then they make the actor look incredible. I mean, they make us look like we generally know how to use a sword, all to the risk of their own health. And I don't think their praises are sung nearly enough, because they go through all sorts of clashes and bangs and bruises, and they have to keep on going over and over and over and over again. And yeah, they're the true stars of the movie, in my opinion.
Wow. And what are you wearing the full metal? And is it heavy?
No, it's not full metal. No, not at all. Some of the soldiers are wearing breastplates, but myself and other lords, etc., are wearing sort of leathered, heavy leather, as opposed to anything like that. I think that era has moved on a bit. It's less to do with full armoured warfare, and now it's leaning towards guns.
Oh, right.
And ranged warfare, with the odd skirmish, yeah.
I think they were invented right around then.
I believe so.
Yeah. So the swords you're using, are they very heavy?
The ones we use are about half a kilo to a kilo. The real ones, I think, are about 1.5 kilos, which they used back then. I know, I was surprised too. Having said that, as light as that may sound, it's very, very tiring. If you're doing it properly and using the wrist as you're supposed to, you do find all sorts of new muscles in your body going, I didn't know that existed, and why can I not lift my wrist like that anymore? It's remarkable. And that's why I have so much respect for the guys who do the job, because they do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, really quickly, while we're missing the strokes and smacking them around the thigh or in the knee or on the hands, and they're going, no, it's fine, I'm fine, you didn't hurt me, you didn't touch me, and you know very well they're going, oh my God, it hurts so much.
So you do the choreography with them?
Oh yes, we learn with them.
Okay, that's amazing. So now, how does Brandon feel about the new queen?
Ooh, good question. How does Brandon feel about the new queen? He likes her. She's got her head together. It's screwed on. I don't think he likes the fact that Henry did nab her off poor old Thomas. But then again, he doesn't care much for the Seymours. I think he's just kind of sitting back and watching at the moment. It doesn't matter to him how much he likes the Queen or not, because he's made that mistake in the past, liking them or disliking them, and his opinion doesn't matter. He's just got to be damage control and keep an eye on the kingdom while everyone else is doing their thing. Right. And keep an eye on the court and the councillors to make sure that no one's stepping beyond their bounds.